about 10 years ago, a friend called and wanted to, this is a precursor to Shepherd's Grain, you know, it's what got me on that path. They called and said, you're growing some dark northern spring, could we have some? We have a little mill and we want to make our own flour. So I said, sure, I'll do that. So I'm harvesting away, we're filling trucks, and then I remember, well, I got to get them a box of wheat. So we had a box ready, and so I start cutting that box of wheat, and all of a sudden I'm looking in the bulk tank every 2 minutes and making, well, does this look good? And checking it all over and stopping and looking, making sure there's no chaff in it. And then I dump it in the truck and I get off and look to make sure it's not cracked. And it's the same field, the same wheat, but somehow I was cutting a commodity when the day started, and that now I was cutting food because I knew the people that were gonna use it. And so that connection of realizing that we're not growing a commodity, we're growing food. And that's where the Shepherd's Grain comes in. You know, we get to know our customer. So we feel like we're growing something for a friend, you know, and so it really puts the clamps on how you do it. You're really careful, you know, because it's not just a bulk commodity that's going off into the wild blue yonder and producing money.
And it's tied to you.
Yeah.
It's all in a bin, you know, with everyone else's, who knows whose is whose, but when it's tied directly to your farm, I mean, you want the best possible outcome for that.
Shepherd's Grain is a grower-owned company. We were started officially, legally, became a company in 2002. We were founded by two farmers out in the Palouse region in eastern Washington, Carl Coopers and Fred Fleming. And really the idea behind Shepherd's Grain started much earlier than that. And it really started when a lot of growers in our region started realizing that the way they were farming and the way their fathers farmed and their grandfathers before them farmed was not sustainable long term. And that in fact, because of wind and water erosion, particularly in the hilly areas of the Palouse, they were losing topsoil at a rate that meant that their families wouldn't be able to continue to farm there if they kept doing what they were doing. The way one of our growers characterizes that I really like is we do less so nature can do more. So as they really started seeing some success, and it takes a while, about 7 years, really decided that this is working and this is actually good for the environment, it's good for me as a farmer. They realized that they were still competing in a conventional commodity system, and so even though they were doing the best they could to be good stewards of the land, there was no way for them to differentiate themselves in the marketplace. And that's where the idea for Shepherd's Grain came, was a way of highlighting good practices and a focus on sustainable soil practices and differentiating what they do from what's just the general commodity market.
Our largest customer base is the West Coast, so Portland, Seattle. We have all sorts of sizes of customers, a lot of mom and pop bakeries, and then some larger bakeries that do a lot of wholesale. Then we also have retail packages in stores as well. The people, the end users who have bought into Shepherd's Grain have done so for a variety of reasons, but I'd say at the top of the list is they love the relationship that they have with the growers. So yesterday, for instance, we rented a bus and bussed over 50 folks from different bakeries in the Seattle area, brought them over to the farm, showed them what we do so that they can actually get their hands in the dirt and see it and smell it and listen to the farmers talk about what they do. There really is a story to Shepherd's Grain. It's about growers who are committed to sustainable agriculture, and people, the end users, are really voting with their dollars to say, yes, we want to support these guys.
I think Shepherd's Grain gives as a consumer, it gives me that relationship that I kind of longed for all these years. Why, you know, I can go meet the farmers, I can go meet the miller, I understand their process directly of how they blend their flours and how they keep it consistent for us. I don't know much about the crop rotation and all the stuff that goes into the no-till aspect of what they do, but in terms of a relationship from the people doing the growing all the way through the milling, all the way to my use, I feel like I have more direct contact with that than I've ever had before in the past.
A couple of the things that separate us from just any other flower company. All of our growers are direct seeders. They are Food Alliance certified, which is a certification that certifies that they are practicing sustainable farming methods. We identity preserve the grain and the flower, so a bag of flour can be traced back to the farmer that grew it.
We went up and rode in the combine. We followed the grain from the field into the elevator. There was a point where we were driving from the field to the grain elevator, and we were in a no-till area, and we went into a tilled field, and we had to stop. There was so much dust we couldn't see what was coming at us traffic-wise. It was scary. So it was really a great illustration for me to see the sustainability of what they were doing.
When they come out to the farm or we go to their bakeries, either one, it just provides that face-to-face opportunity to talk and be transparent about things, which is just a much better way of communication than reading whatever on the internet and not knowing what's true and having to sift facts that way.
It helps people to realize more about what farming is. You know, I don't think a lot of people really understand the story behind it.
All of our growers are paid on a cost of production basis rather than a commodity premium basis. So we really do a lot of work every year to analyze the cost of production for our farms and use that to set the basis for the price for the flower. So our growers can be assured they're making a reasonable living, a reasonable rate of return on their cost of production, providing stable pricing to their customers rather than the unstable commodity pricing, but also, because of that connection, focus on quality and consistency of the product as well as the good stewardship practices at the farm.